Globe, 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 hello to you all. The kettle's with you? How are you?
We are back for more fraud by the legal profession.
Ooh, these people are brutal.
We purchased this home in 2012. In August was our closing. We closed on the 30th of August, and we did our walkthrough on the 27th. When we walked through, there were no slit screens, no pitted garage, no broken doors, no. The inspector said there was no plugged pipes. I could go on and on with the list. But anyway, and by the way, the inspector had this 11-page report done in 5 minutes in his car, printed and all this information, and I can attach it because I still have that as well. I kept everything from our closing. It's just when you've been screwed over as many times as I have, you learn to document things quite well.
The inspector, when he inspected this house also, part of his job is when there's something with the property that's not up to code.
It's his job to point it out.
It's his job to point it out. And with the fence, the nonsense fence that they had in between us and Zhang's restaurant.
It was 4.5 feet tall.
And all he said, a couple boards need to be fixed, and you need to fix it a little bit.
It wasn't up to code. It should have been 12 feet high because it should be 3 feet higher than the business's nearest exit, which is that back door where they pretend to deliver all the time.
Then with the inspection, at the first rain that we had, the roof leaked, so it's pouring. I called my lawyer, Don Perla, right?
Yeah, Don Perla.
And I say, I want to, go bring something up with this inspector. He should have caught all this stuff. That's his job. And
the Simonellis, that was their job to release any of this information.
Don Perla tells me, you can't prove that. So I ended that phone call because I knew where this farce was going. So 5 days later, I get a check from Don Perla for $640-some.
They supposedly overcharged us for the closing.
They're nonsense. That's nonsense. Anyways, we're going to go to
the purchase. Oh, the PMI.
The PMI.
The PMI was 78% equity.
Or 5 years.
5 years. Well, after 5 years, we called them because they didn't stop the PMI. And by the way, First Priority Mortgage sold our mortgage
to Wells Fargo.
Yes. So we had 5 years, and they're telling us no.
Then Wells Fargo.
We're mistaken.
At that time, Wells Fargo told me, you've got to get your balance of your mortgage down to $82,000. Then we'll take the PMI off. That's just
we put so much money into this house.
It's not the way it works.
No, it was 5 years was the most extreme. And they didn't stop. In fact, they're still charging us.
And they're still charging PMI on this mortgage from the last statement that we received from these people.
Mr. Simonelli's lawyer told us, they're really good people.
And we looked at each other and said, well,
we're screwed.
Why would a lawyer even mention that in a closing? Because I really, personally, I could care less who the Simonellis are.
Yeah.
But that's just, my personal
and he
opinion.
was buddies with the fireman.
Down
police
the road,
officer down the street. So this didn't happen to him. No, and he came here in 17 because both my smoke alarms went off at one time, and I thought maybe there's something wrong, so I had him come and check. And he told me he was friends with Ronald Simonelli. Yeah, well, I think it's pretty interesting.
It's good
because they're all covering one another.
Backing information. It shows you how they all protect themselves. All the wealthy will always protect themselves. Oh no, they're crazy. They're crazy. They're nuts. Okay.
And then, after 7 years of being polluted, listen, I called the town of Cheektowaga. In fact, the same people that wrote us the summons or whatever you want to call it for the lawn, I called them because the first time I had people throwing blacktop chunks from their driveway into our pool. And I went to the police station to report it. Vandalism, right? That's all I thought. And, he didn't want to file a report with me. He told me to call the neighborhood preservation. So for 2 years, I wasted time with the neighborhood preservation. They didn't want to preserve the neighborhood. Here.
And because we knew who these psychopaths in Cheektowaga, these corrupt, treasonous traitors were. We bag and tag everything. This is just the small asphalt, because the bigger pieces I couldn't fit in this bag. 5/30/2015.
That's from the deck and pool. They were just throwing blacktop into our pool.
It came from the restaurant's property, because they have, when they pull the semi-tractor trailers using a parking lot as a roadway, when they go down back onto Goring Avenue, the weight is chewing up the road, and that's where this came from.
And that's another thing. In 2013, I was working part-time, and we had all our windows open here because we never had a truck here, right?
Yep.
I come home from work, and our inside and outside of our house
is black from them scraping asphalt.
They had like a giant wire brush, and they never thought of even telling us they were going to do it.
Their neighbors that they're going to do this, but it
ruined our couch. It ruined everything.
These people they're all corrupt. This town of Cheektowaga is the most corrupt place in Western New York, I believe.
Then the news media started talking about the Skajakoda Creek, and how that the sewer systems overloaded cause so much more pollution. They're not worried about pollution when they got trucks idling next to our house and planes flying 200 feet over
your home, where they shouldn't be in the first place. But they're concerned about Skajakoda Creek. Anyways, they do this plumbing inspection and then do this plumbing work. Alvin Kappas, and he worked for the town of Cheektowaga, and he wind up doing nothing but vandalize this property, because guess what? I have a cistern system. So the drainage from underneath goes into that cistern. That cistern drains then into the sanitary. The only drain I have on this property is a sanitary that leads out to the road. Cistern drains the sanitary, right where the toilet comes out, sanitary out to the road.
The same way a sump pump would work, but without electric needed. The only difference.
These people,
they vandalized it and clogged it up, and that's what
told us that this was mandatory to do before you sell your property.
And they flooded our basement
because the way the drainage is underneath Goring, even if you put a sump pump in there, all that water's still going to be pumped right back to the same sanitary,
so
to the exact same sanitary sewer.
What they did.
Some more corruption of the town of Cheektowaga.
And then he put an illegal lien on. He didn't even give us a bill, and that's why our mortgage company wouldn't even talk to us, because there was a lien on it right away.
And here's Erie County, New York's government's crimes in this. Erie County, New York is the one that allowed this Alvin Kappas. I never received an invoice, so to this date,
and we still paid it.
And we still paid that scumbag, and guess what?
We couldn't. The bank has been jerking us around since the moment we got back from the failed closure.
We got back from
they withheld paperwork for 6 weeks so he could get that lien on there, so that they could say they couldn't talk to us.
We can't work with you anymore. There's a lien on your house. There's a process that Erie County is supposed to follow when they put a lien on a home, and that process was not followed. This area is so corrupt. Mark Polenkar's town of
all of them,
Erie County, town of Cheektowaga. These people are pathetically corrupt, and it's getting to the point where
they are murdering their own citizens.
You're harming your own citizens. You people are treasonous traitors to the United States of America. Period.
Now I want to get into the Kishes, because Joseph Kish.
Here's a gem too.
Came to us. He told us that he was getting kicked out of his house, even though his father was down in St. Pete with him. His father wasn't going to help him, so he drove all the way to us on Barbados Road from where's that third one? From St. Petersburg, Florida. He drove all that way.
I think you have it.
I had it right, and he was on. That shows the St. Pete address.
Yep.
And then here he is on Barbados with us. That's a Barbados address. And then we have him here. He was here from 2000 before our closing. Oh, wait a minute. Where is it? Do I have it? I got it upside down that time. No, I didn't.
No, here it is.
Okay.
Here it is.
He was with us until November 2014. I don't know why we let him in, because I felt bad for him.
We felt bad for him, and we shouldn't have done it in the first place. Anyways, we did the right thing. We were parents. This is the right thing to do.
We thought we were doing the right thing. He never complained about anything here except for we made too much noise for him, or we did this,
right, we did
or we ate
Where
too
are the complaints? And then now all of a sudden these people are going to tell you, the Kish family, the Wallentinowitz family, that we abandoned our home, the town of Cheektowaga, when we got back here.
Why would our family lie?
When we got back here on August 4th or 5th?
5th.
August 5th.
Just after midnight. 2019. Our neighbor.
Who comes, lo and behold, here comes the corrupt Cheektowaga police telling us
at 2:05 in the morning
that there were squatters in this house.
And they actually even told us that it was the neighbor across the street,
Mike Murphy.
Yeah,
that called.
You know, they did that a couple times where they wanted us mad at Mike.
Mad at our neighbor. This guy's a schmuck. He's a veteran, I think, and he's useless.
Then we had Mike's brother Christopher here, who was getting divorced from his suddenly gay wife. And he's a mailman and ex-naval.
Yep.
And then a month later, his mother showed up.
Then I got Patricia Christina.
We got Patty. And
I told you about Patricia Christina.
She was bad news.
Bad news.
When we went to visit her in Florida before we moved there, she was as nice as could be.
Yep.
The day we got there and she got home, it was a whole nother story. That's okay. They need to. And we have no reason to be angry and no reason to be mad. Because according to the Teamsters, I'm supposed to start collecting my pension November 1st. Of course, it's after we're supposed to leave the house that they want to start paying me. And I want you to see.
Yeah, here.
I want to make sure where right here, up here. November 1st of this year. And then, on top of it all, and I sent the marriage certificate already in for Joseph Kish. And also, I was notified by attorney Klima that I am a heir to Melissa Kedron's home and other properties, 1/3 split. So I have no reason to be mad, no reason to be sad, because I'm supposed to get money all over the place.
According to this guy, he was appointed by the courts to represent Jane.
Yeah.
Now, we got him the documentation and everything he needed for his hearing, which would have been
It was September 11th.
September 11th. We have not, and he said that he was hired by the court to represent Jane in this matter, because in New York State, with no will, it's law that the heirs get whatever proceeds.
And I plan on, just like with every other video, attaching the evidence that we've spoken about.
We'll attach it all.
And by the way, I had an IT certificate for desk help and networking. So I do know how to work the computer, but what I find weird is that every time I do something, I have to do something different the next time. I can't even edit things because we don't have Windows Movie Maker editor.
Yeah.
It's just one thing after another, is all we're saying.
We'll be attaching a lot of proof to this video. Please, I know your attention spans are short, but please watch it.
There's so much information, and it needs to go out, because our government, Joe Biden just said yesterday that he believes in everyone being treated humanely. And you know what I think? I think he's full of shit.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't treat everyone humanely. What they've done to us, keeping us up at night, polluting us, noise nonstop, and all these legal maneuvers that they've done to screw us,
using
just
medical,
shows it's not
using
true.
Judicial, and using lawyers to harm us. You people are crazy. You're the ones that are crazy.
Shame on you all.
Shame on you all. And then I want to end it with President Trump. I have to thank you. I'm thanking you because you make Jane and I laugh so much.
You are awesome, by the way.
You're awesome.
We were mistaken.
Your latest gem, when you were talking to the fake news, and they asked you about that rotund Chris Christie, and you said, oh, he's eating. We've been laughing nonstop since. Keep it up. Thank you. These people
Peace
are
out,
corrupt.
people.
Thanks.
Love
Mr.
you
Trump.
all.
Thank you.